Montalvo is not here, correct?
She's not, but she will be.
All right,
Yeah,
Valerie Carr, and I had Brian, but I don't see Brian now.
let's see. He might have had a technical difficulty.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a quorum without Brian.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's get this started. All right, so consent agenda minutes, and I don't know if there's a treasurer's report, but Ted, we do have a check, so.
Yeah, the balance is 308. So whatever that $1,500 and 308 gives us $1,800.
Was there any activity this month?
No.
Ted? Okay, thanks.
All right. Cool. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Anybody? I'll just move since, and Jen will second.
Okay.
Keep it moving. All right, we are gonna open it up to public comment.
We should vote first on that motion.
Oh, any nays? I think we have a hand up for public comment.
Okay. Okay, so the motion's approved, yes?
Yes. Yeah, well, you tell us, Karen, you're. I know it's frowned upon, but I had to make the motion. Nobody was saying anything.
No, but we voted, correct?
Yes.
There were no
Yeah.
names.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, thank you.
All right, opening it up to public comment. I see Chris. Do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'd love to go ahead. Can you hear me okay? Great. So I was briefly on last meeting. I'm going to try to be coming on these meetings regularly now. I'm very interested in the safety of the community. I don't know if I was able to share last time, but I got 6 new deer signs on Highway 1 in 2022 through Caltrans, trying to get the speed limit lowered ever since. Also trying to get some speed limit changes in the county roads. There's been an awful lot of speeding going on, and there's been a ton of deer killed. Fawns, does, a pregnant doe on the highway today. It's very dangerous for drivers coming into our community. I really don't feel there's adequate notification for people coming in that have no knowledge of the wildlife we have. I do want to say that Rita Burton and I have 2 petitions. We have one for Highway 1, which we have turned into Caltrans, and I have one currently going with change.org, and I have nearly 600 on that. That is for the residential speed limits change in residential and in business areas, and the highways for the other petition we turned in. So I just wanted to share that I've tried to do everything I can in the community to make it a safer place by offering signs to people, but I got in trouble with the county this week. So I got a call saying I couldn't put those signs on county posts. So I did go and remove those and comply, but that really concerns me. And I don't know how much time I have, but I just want to say there's a really needed area of Main Street in town by the Catholic Church. I felt so good about putting these signs up there a while back to back. A lot of fawns and does cross that, and bucks cross that to go to the creek and across the highway to get to the creek to water. So that's my concern, and I just want to make sure that I voice that and let people know how I feel about that. And I have a lot of people that back me. So thank you for your time and everything you do, all of you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Christina, can I follow up on that just real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if Mrs. Siebert, I haven't told her. She came to the board meeting and she spoke obviously about this, and the board of directors asked it to be placed on the agenda. And we have that. I believe it's going to be September because we have to work out the details. I'm bringing a potential agenda item forward to allow Mrs. Siebert to place her signs on CCSD open parcels that are in the areas where we see these crossings. So that's coming to our agenda.
Very good. Thank you so much, Matthew.
All right, thank you both. Jeff Wilson, you want to go ahead?
Sure, yeah. Trish, you can hear me?
Yes.
Excellent, yeah. Jeff Wilson, resident of Cambria. I'm here to support Chris and Steve in their efforts regarding safety and the speed limit. We have most everything is 25, but we do have areas, I think we know most of them, that are 30. And to me, it doesn't make sense that we would have that kind of disparity. We should be consistent throughout the community in 25 miles per hour. And the California DMV rules, section 7, says that exactly, that all residential areas are 25 miles per hour. So I don't see why we can't get those 30 mile per hours changed to 25 miles per hour. It's the law. The second is regarding Highway 1. It's not uncommon that you'll find on major two-lane roads that where 65, 55 comes into a residential area, that it slows to 45, 35, and with schools 25. I think especially given the curve between Ardath and Windsor, or Ardath and Cambria Drive, but mostly Ardath and Windsor, that at 45 miles per hour would be really, really helpful. That's a dangerous section of Highway 1. I'd prefer to see it Ardath to Windsor, maybe even to Weymouth. But I don't know what it takes to get that done, but it feels like that's the right thing to do for the safety of our community, not only animals, but people as well. So that's it. Thank you very much. Appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you, Jeff. Ted, did you want to go ahead?
Sure. I have a couple of things. First of all, I had the pleasure today to go out and visit the pilot project for global water innovations today. Jim Green and Patrick and another gentleman was out there today taking a look at it. They're working on different waters. As you know, different waters need different things. They're testing 2 of the techniques that they're going to be looking at here in Cambria. And the machine is operating about 96, 97% capacity right now, or recovery right now, and they're looking to push that all the way up to 99%. And so things are looking really well. They're gathering data, and that's a big plus. I spoke with Congressman Panetta one-on-one last week. I won't go over all that I discussed with him, but what really was really stood out the most, I was talking about the offshore wind, how much he didn't really know. I was astonished by the amount of things that I was telling him that he just didn't simply know. And then Coastal Commission public comment the following day. And that was well attended by opposition people. We had about 17 people at the meeting. And again, I suggested my alternative, which is covering the aqueduct system with American-made panels rather than sending billions of our tax dollars over to a foreign oil company. Every single engineer that I talked to, and I talked to engineers that are some of the best of the best, and they all say that this floating offshore wind thing is an absolute mess. It had never happened, because basically we should be looking at decentralizing power, and they just don't see this thing as ever having any ROI. So we will see what happens. Hopefully Equinor will understand that they're not going to make any money on this project, and they will go away. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Ted. And we can talk more about that later.
Oh, I have so much to tell you, my young friend. Oh.
And Brian, you want to go ahead?
Yes, this is Brian Glusevich. I've had a problem getting on, and you probably saw me get on the other side. But anyway, I wanted to go back to what people were talking about earlier about the deer safety and animal safety in general. And one of the things that was mentioned on Nextdoor is that the North Coast Advisory Council might vote on this issue to support it. And that's something we could and probably I think should do in our August meeting. And we need to have something maybe in front of us, but we ought to, I think, show that the council is in favor of it. Anyway, that's what I had to say.
All right, thank you, Brian. Let's see if I'm missing a hand. Somebody please let me know. I don't think I am. So Commander Abbas, if you're ready, please feel free to go ahead.
Hi there. Thanks for having me. Looking at our call statistics from last month, we had a total of 268 calls for service, down from 328 prior year at the same time. Of note, were 22 disturbance calls, 13 enforcement stops, 10 preventative patrol activities, and 6 assault batteries. So wanted to talk a little bit, and Ms. Galloway asked that I talk a little bit about the assault with a deadly weapon that we had in Cambria at the end of the month. As I mentioned, Ms. Galloway, I can't get too much into it other than to say that there was an altercation that led to one subject being stabbed. The 2 suspects involved in that altercation were taken into custody. It is still currently under investigation. Again, that's why I can't get too much more into it. And Ms. Galloway, again, you'd asked that I talk a little bit about what to do if you are you witness a critical incident like that, as that would certainly be deemed a critical incident in the eyes of law enforcement. I could spend like 4 hours talking about what to do, but really to kind of boil it down, the one thing that I would recommend, the best way to respond to a critical incident is not be in the area of a critical incident. So what I mean by that is having situational awareness of what's going on around you. That means keep your headphones off when you're in line at the store and stay out of your phone as you're walking down the sidewalk so that you're more attuned to what's going on around you. And if you start seeing what looks like is going to be an altercation, whether it's somebody might be looking at you or you might witness 2 people being involved in an altercation, then immediately separate yourself. Would be the best thing that I can recommend. You know, you might not have insight as to why that altercation has happened. Is there prior history between those subjects? Is one of them armed or multiple of them armed? So creating separation between yourself and that critical incident is what I would recommend. Then once at a safe distance, if you're inclined to contact law enforcement and let them know what it is that you're seeing. Some things that they're going to want to know is where the incident's happening, how many people are involved, if it's actively occurring, like is there an active assault that's occurring, the number of people involved in the assault, and then if there's any injuries that you're able to discern. So, you know, again, that might be tough if all you saw was just a split second of an altercation happening before you took off. But if you are in a position where you can see what's going on, the next thing that they're going to want to know is descriptions of involved parties and or weapon types. So when we're training law enforcement to give descriptions, the best thing is just be general with the descriptions. So tall, heavy set, short, thin, those types of descriptions are going to help better than trying to estimate, you know, 6'1" and 176 pounds. Same goes with clothing description. You know, if you can say light color, dark color top, light color, dark color pants, or light color, dark color shorts would be better than trying to, after having witnessed something for a fraction of a second, try to say, you know, a periwinkle top and, you know, acid wash jean, like that might not help us. And that might be an observation that you're spending too much time on one thing rather than taking in the entire picture. So, you know, heavy set, you know, tall, short, heavy set, you know, white male adult, light colored top, dark colored pants. That's going to get law enforcement to start looking for that person with that particular description in order to try to make contact. Intervening or involving yourself is something that's not really recommended, again, because you don't know if there's going to be weapons, if there are weapons involved, or if you do see weapons involved, then you can become a victim of the assault as well. So the best thing that we would encourage, and frankly, what we encourage off-duty law enforcement too, is just to be a good witness. So get to a safe distance away from the assault. If you're inclined, keep observations on the assault, on that incident from a safe distance, and try to provide as best the information you can to for incoming units.
Okay, thank you. I'm just gonna ask like a possibly ridiculous question.
Sure.
If you're, I think there's like a human instinct to help.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to be a good witness and keep a safe distance, like, do you yell or you're just like a silent witness? Like,
So that's a good question, and it's really situational. So again, it's going to be situational to the incident, and then situational to the person witnessing it. So, depending on your individual physical ailments, on your individual situation, do you have your kids with you? Do you have your elderly parents with you? Again, the involving yourself in that manner could potentially draw attention to you and potentially involve you in the assault. So again, I'm not going to say not to, but I'm also not going to say that you should. Again, what we teach law enforcement is to, in an off-duty capacity, is to be a good witness. Provide the best information you can to law enforcement. That's going to be the best help that you can give to incoming responding units. Now, if assault's over, suspect leaves, and you have somebody that's down in the ground, and at that point you want to come forward, if you're inclined, again, I don't want to tell somebody that they should or have to, but if you do, dispatch would be able to walk you through what type of aid that you could potentially provide. Then there's the other factors to consider of personal protective equipment. If somebody's bleeding, I mean, you're potentially exposing yourselves to biological hazards in the form of blood or whatever other materials might be in that area. So again, a lot of things to consider in those incidents, but there are resources out there, like through the Red Cross does, first aid training and CPR training. So having that background in training is if you are going to assist with medical aid, it would be beneficial. But again, that's if you're inclined to involve yourself in rendering that aid.
okay, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions for Commander Abbas? Chris, you want to go ahead?
Hello. I don't know if it's appropriate to ask you this question or if it would be higher patrol, but so I've had incidents last week where I was going south on Main Street. I was passing the bridge by the Longhorn Steers, and it's solid yellow all the way through there. It's curves around. I was going to speed limit, and a guy passed me and almost had a head on with the other car coming that way. And then I ended up next to him at the light on Highway 1. I was just asking, is there any way we can report people that are driving like this in our community? There's just been so much reckless driving in our community lately, and I'm just really concerned about it. And I don't know how to make it better, or how we can report it, or if we can report it.
Sure. So you're looking at a couple different things. So if you're talking about a specific instance, you're more than welcome to call law enforcement if it's a traffic related issue, and you call the sheriff's office. They would forward you to the highway patrol. we would be able to potentially provide extra patrol of the area, but primarily the highway patrol handles the traffic enforcement. So again, specific incidents, feel free to call. But then if you have a general traffic complaint, again, highway patrol would be the primary agency that would handle that type of service.
So the non-emergency number, of course, you just call that number, the non-emergency number?
Assuming there isn't an emergency. I mean, if the vehicle,
Oh, yeah.
passed and caused a collision, obviously you'd want to call 911, but otherwise it would be the non-emergency dispatch number for either the highway patrol or sheriff's office.
And then I have another question, and also safety related. On Ardith, we have tons of people speeding. We've been having does and fawns and deer killed, and I'm really worried about people getting in an accident. There's just been a ton of speeding. I'm in touch with a lot of people in town on this instance, and I was curious, is there any way to get a variable message board or some kind of speed sign that would show the speed, or anything we can do in that matter? Or is that something you would be able to help us with?
So the sheriff's office doesn't have any of those speed limit signage. I'm not sure if the highway patrol does, or county roads. I don't know if they would have that type of equipment.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Chris. And Commander Abbas, thank you so much for being here. It means a lot. So
No problem. Thank you.
Okay, it looks like you're off the hook.
All right. Have a
Thank
good one.
you.
See you next month.
You too. Bye. All right, Blake, that means it's your turn. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
for it.
So I'm looking at, what's been happening at the board and just kind of locally that might be of interest or impact to the North Coast. And the honest truth is there hasn't been a lot going on. The board meetings that we have had have been things like appeals or weed ordinance introductions that are coming up that you guys are already ahead of the game on. So I don't have a ton to report. I'm happy to take any questions or clarify anything I can, but I just wanted to make sure that I was here for your council and public. But honestly, there's just not a lot going on that's Cambria or San Simeon specific. Actually, there is one thing, and I did get a couple of questions about that, and then I see you, Jeff, and I'll answer. I did get some questions about a recent contract that the county did with the San Simeon CSD for a professional services contract for analysis of the San Simeon CSD's some of the questions they have to get answered to go before the LAFCO in their pursuit of dissolution. The county did do an RFP on behalf of the CSD, a request for proposal to find said agent, and did award the contract. However, I did want to also clarify that the CSD themselves are paying for that contract. It's not the county covering the cost of that. So just a quick clarification for those who might have been interested in that. And with that, I will answer any questions. I'll start with Mr. Jeff Bloom.
Blake, who is the consultant? Do you know offhand?
Yes, I do. It is NBS Government Finance Group.
That's good. Okay. The question I had really wasn't about your presentation, but if we're going to discuss speed limits in town and signage and message boards, is it possible to get one of the county's traffic engineers to be available for the meeting when we finally put that on the agenda?
I know you can't read my chicken scratch notes, but I have a note right here that says, see if Public Works can come talk about speed limits with the NCAC in August.
Yeah, because it's so confined by state laws and requirements that I think
Yes.
it's important to have somebody with real knowledge of that available when we discuss it.
Absolutely. I can speak to it in a general sense. I get these questions quite often, but I won't try to sell myself as a subject matter expert. So I will certainly encourage Public Works, someone who is, to come and help be part of that conversation. I'm getting the sense that your board is ready to have that conversation in August. And if it's not in August, let me know, and we'll try to get them on a different date.
Thanks. And Blake, if I could just jump in, can you just give us the gist? Because from what I understand, it's just not as simple as like, we want a speed limit change and then the speed limit changes. Like, can you give us anything to kind of wrap our heads around over the next month or two while?
Absolutely. So, the county doesn't just have discretion to arbitrarily set speed limits in the unincorporated areas. The process by which we do that is actually dictated by the state and is rather formulaic. I happen to have on my desktop a 94-page document if anyone wants to get into that, but I can gladly summarize. We generally can't change speed limits up or down without specific findings that are supported by a traffic and engineering study. There's a number of factors that go into the calculation of a posted speed limit. That includes the number of vehicles that commonly are on that road, the specific roadway type, density of structures, like is it a dense neighborhood, is it more rural, how many driveways are on it, and what speed roughly 85% of the drivers are driving at safely. So Public Works does regularly conduct those speed surveys to validate our findings. And then we do make speed adjustments as necessary based on the results of those studies. I won't argue that some people are going to exceed posted speed limits. There's a decent chance they might speed if the speed limit was lowered anyway. That's not necessarily a reason to not do something, but that is just something that we have to contend with. And that what Public Works in our office would recommend in those instances to curb that behavior is enforcement from the CHP. We can and absolutely will respond to concerns about specific areas with studies, but it might be that the speed limit is actually what it is supposed to be per state law. And those who are exceeding that speed limit, it is the CHP's role to enforce for those that are exceeding it. So that is the super broad strokes version of that conversation.
All right, thank you. Looks like
Yeah.
you got a Kermit on your hands. You want to go ahead, Kermit? And you're muted.
Yes, I noticed that the two big bond issues or two funding issues in the county have occurred, and they're having to do with the cities or the locations like a Rio Grande who passed the 1% tax or whatever I think it was, and I know that a lot of fanfare because there was a lot of money involved and it's going for some really good projects. And I know that, secretly behind the counter, the county or the anything that we get is probably going to be tied to something like that because it's our choice if we're going to add, have a contributing money. When is this, there was a campaign, they dropped it because they didn't think there was enough people. Is the county involved in that, or is that John D'Annunzio and the, when is that going to reoccur? And when will that, and for sure, is it going to happen? I know it's going to be bounced out, but when is it going to be bounced out for us, our further discussion?
So what Kermit's asking is that there was a proposed bond measure for additional funds that are what would qualify us as what's called a self-help county. And that was done through the SLOCOG or the San Luis Obispo Council of Governments. And that's the county sitting with the 5 supervisors and then 1 representative from the city council, or in some cases, the mayor of each of our 7 cities. And the 7 cities, and I'm not here to necessarily point fingers or to get too deep into the politics of it, but the cities voted down a county-wide measure so they could then pass their own local measures, some of which passed, some of which did not. The next time I would expect that to come, and again, it would come through SLOCOG, which you're correct, would be John D'Annunzio's shop. I would assume would be ahead of the next general election. I don't have a crystal ball that they're necessarily going to try again, but I would assume that they would try again at that time. And I'm hoping that we would then have the votes at that time to move forward because there's a lot of money left on the table that we could be getting if we were a self-help county.
Thanks, Blake. Kermit, you good with that?
Good.
Okay, Harry, you want to go ahead? Oh, you're muted, Harry.
My apologies. No, I just wanted to make sure, are we recording this meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Chris, you want to go?
Yeah, I have something for Blake. I just want to thank him. He gave me some of his precious time a week or so ago on the phone. He explained a lot of things to me. I've been on this mission for 4.5 years. Like I said, I started off strong with the 6 new deer signs, but since then I've just been trying and trying. I want to bring something up that he shared with me that was very interesting to me. I'm kind of understand it, but I'm not sure how we could go about changing it. But what he shared with me is that Cambria is considered rural residential, and that is why we do not qualify for the typical 25 mile an hour in residential zones. Is that correct? Blake, is that how I understand that?
Well, let me clarify that. It's that the 25 mile per hour speed limit is in residential areas is based on the literally the density of homes. And so you will find some portions of Cambria that does qualify for that density of homes, and therein you will find 25 mile per hour speed limits. But just because of the way it was plotted out, decades and decades ago, some portions of Cambria are not dense enough to qualify for that prima facie 25, and thus they might be 30. They might be, if they're a collector road, they might be 35. So yes, with an asterisk and some further explanation, as is kind of typical of government.
So what I think I'm hearing too is that, say for instance, Ardith, which is a huge concern with many people, with people speeding and flying through that road. There's one stop sign. When I moved here 25 years ago, that wasn't even here. So is the reason that street I know you don't have a crystal ball, but that may not be 25 because there's not a house on every lot going down.
Well, that, and it's also what's considered a collector road, which is a road that a lot of other ancillary streets would then go to, then to get them to one of the, the main thoroughfares. In your guys' case, that would be Highway 1. So it also has to depend on the number of traffic that road would routinely handle. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, but yes, in short, there's a number of reasons why Ardith specifically wouldn't be 25.
Mm-hmm. I've been to Slowcog a couple of times and spoken to, and I have asked for and requested a variable message board or some kind of way to indicate speed on Ardith. Do you know of any way I can pursue that to happen, or any?
I know Public Works has some. The thing is that they wouldn't be there. They would be temporarily placed. They wouldn't be something that would just be there.
Fine.
Yeah.
I mean, temporary would be better than nothing.
Yeah. I think there's one or two they rotate around the county just to try to encourage folks to go, the speed limit. They maybe are in a spot for 2 weeks and then they'll rotate. I can put a request in. I can't, of course.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I would greatly appreciate that. I mean, if you can do it, I thank you so much. I'll take whatever you can do. And I appreciate you, and I thank you for all you do, and I appreciate your time.
Of course, my pleasure.
Thank you both. All right, Jeff Bloom, you got something else for Blake?
Oh, just to add to that, Blake, you might talk to the county engineer about when was the last speed survey on Ardith? Because that would be the precursor to any change of the speed limits. So, and then in that same vein, do they publish, they should, but do they publish somewhere that you could find it easily, the speed surveys that have been done in Cambria more recently?
I don't know that they do, but they certainly would be publicly available. I just don't think that they're like all posted on the website, but I will find out, specifically looking at Ardith too.
Or at least how we find them for specific streets that they might. They're required by state law to do them on some frequency, but I don't know how vigilant they've been.
On major streets like Ardith, I would expect it to be with regular frequency, less so for lesser
Yeah.
traveled roads, but Ardith is a pretty main street.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Ted, you want to go on?
Yeah, I would like to convey to Blake, and I hope that the Supervisor Gibson already knows how unified Cambria is against this floating offshore project. And I will be preparing a full-on statement next time Supervisor Gibson is here. Really need to understand the very real reasons why people in Cambria do not want this threat off our coast. Thank you.
Understood. Looking at the calendar, we should both be able to be here for the August meeting.
All right, thank you, Ted. Thank you, Blake. Anybody else have anything for Blake? All right, cool. All right, moving on. Fire Safe Focus Group. The report is linked in the agenda. So if anybody, there was nothing like super over the top, but if anybody wants to check that out, that's where you can find it. It's also on the website. So we'll move on to land use. I just want to run past you guys. Last year we approved an application. So we did a recommendation for approval on an application for a cell tower by a company called Atlas Towers. So they worked with the NCAC to create a tower that looked like a tree. Some of the residents in that area were chimed in about a year later, were upset either about the tree or where it was located. I'm unclear, but the applicant went back and redid the plans to move the tower 300 feet. And so I'm just asking for approval to continue to support that project with this tower being moved 300 feet. And now it will no longer look like a tree because of the costs associated with moving it 300 feet, but you also can't really see it from the roadway. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or any issues with that. I just want to redo a letter of support removing the fact that it looked like a tree. And if there's no questions, I would love for somebody to make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Second.
Okay, any nays? Okay, great, thank you guys. That's what I have for that. And next month we will try to get through a couple of land use referrals. So we'll try to get as prepared as possible as we can for that to not take up too much time. Okay, let me see. Is Mr. Chief Bob Putney here with us yet?
Yes, I am.
There you are. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so you guys, Bob is going to share with us some of his amazing tips on getting ready for emergencies and okay, I know you're not going to share with us the visuals of your amazing items in your go bag, but let us know when you want to be able to share your screen and we can do that.
I'm ready to do that right now.
All right, cool.
So I'm going to share here. So a go or a bug out bag is something everyone on this call hopefully already has. If you haven't visited it in a while, maybe there's things in there that have gone bad. I am not an entrepreneur or a salesperson, but I've used a lot of things in my many years dragging my carcass around this planet and have learned from other rescuers and other survivalists, and I've been active in Boy Scouts of America for a long, long time. So I make suggestions not based on manufacturers, but on what works. So the first thing is your backpack can't be a school backpack or an over-the-shoulder bag. It needs to be a regular backpack that has a waist strap. The reason is that your bag, even if you fill it lightly, is probably going to weigh somewhere between 25 and 40 pounds. Your pack shouldn't weigh more than 40 pounds. It should be even lighter if you have back or hip problems or mobility issues. Many people who have asked me for suggestions, if they have mobility issues, I've suggested that they get a small roller case with wheels that they can use so they can wheel it around. The difficulty, of course, would be, schlepping it into your car. So you may need, some assistance with that. So think about that. What is a go bag? It's a bag assembled if you need to get out quickly with all the things that you have. You can read the list, but I'm going to go over here very quickly some of the main things that need to be inside here. One of the most important things we humans need is water, and water weighs about 9 pounds per gallon. So that's a lot to carry. So I have some suggestions when, if we were meeting in a place where I could show you different things, I would show you things called, there's a company called Hydropack that makes collapsible bags that you can fill with water that are a lot less weight, but just remember you're going to need to bring some water. Water filter is important. And this is all stuff that should be in your bag, not you running around your house throwing it in at the last minute. Walking shoes, spare socks, undergarments, warm clothes, lightweight blanket, rain gear, poncho, sewing kit, a hat to keep the sun off of you, a hat to keep you warm, sunglasses, spare glasses, a cloth bandana or a shamag. A shamag is like a big bandana. It's what our military soldiers wore in the desert. It's 100% cotton. You can wrap your head, your face, helps keep you warm. A can opener, multi-tool, a pocket or a fixed blade knife, whatever you would prefer. Lumber crayons, those are the things you get at the store to mark on lumber with. You can use those for marking things. A folding tree saw, since it's pretty hard to put a chainsaw in your backpack and lug that around. So a folding tree saw is pretty quick about getting tree limbs or things out of the way if they're blocking the street, or if you need to make some wood, to build a fire to keep warm. Please be careful if you're going to build a fire. As a prior fire chief, and I know Mike Burkey's on the call, we don't want a small campfire becoming a wildfire. But if you need to keep warm, and if it's in a safe place, you may need to cut some wood up for fuel. Work gloves or safety glasses, an N95 or N99 disposable face mask. Those are air purified disposable masks like we wore in COVID, but the real official ones. A whistle that makes a loud sound, so you can either whistle for help or get somebody's attention. A signal mirror to flash a distance away to get somebody's attention if you need help or trying to attract somebody. Zip ties and earplugs. Matches or a lighter. I recommend lifeboat or stormproof type matches. Those will light even though they're soaking wet. That's very important. Your regular wooden matches they're not gonna work very well. Fire starter is great. Parachute cord, which is, it's called 550 cord, but basically it'll hold 550-pound tensile strength. That's great for creating a clothesline, holding up a tent, using your poncho to create an improvised lean-to if you have to get out of your car. Obviously, food, energy bars, and light snacks that are shelf-stable. I recommend backpacking food that's like freeze-dried, where you just have to add hot water. Spare batteries, a flashlight, a headlamp, and a headlamp, a cell phone charging cord, and of course duct tape, a thick plastic trash bags, toilet paper, which is really pretty important, Ziploc bags and wet wipes, a first aid kit or supplies if you'd rather, an emergency blanket, a packed towel, which is kind of like a chamois. You can dry yourself off, wring it out, and reuse it, hand sanitizer or bar soap and liquid, bug spray, sun protection, over-the-counter medications, and your prescription medications, and any feminine hygiene supplies that you would normally carry. Pencil and paper, preferably that will write when it's wet, and then paper maps, compass, spare glasses and small binoculars, money, other important items, pictures, super glue, playing cards. I recommend the survival ones so you can remind yourself, how to survive in different situations. Your important personal documents like your prescriptions, your insurance documents, your property deeds, your tax info, social security card, driver's license, contents of your home and your business, your birth certificate, any other ID stuff and passport. And you can put all of that on a flash drive and keep it in your bag so you have it. It's great to have a paper copy too. And then make sure you have a go bag for any family members like young children that are going to come with you or your pets. You'll need to modify the contents for children. Specifically, you want to make sure you add hearing protection and some sort of favorite toy or game in that bug out bag for the kids. For the pets, obviously leash harness, tools, toys, a water bowl, a blanket, and then a hard carrier case is highly recommended because your pets will know that there's a state of emergency around you before you will. And if they're roaming around your car, they could very well attack you and hurt you or maim you, because all they want is they want out. They want to, feet don't fail me now. So you don't want to have them running loose in the car. We've had a couple of people say, well, I can't put a carrier in my car. I can't lift it. Then get one of those metal screens where maybe you can put them in the back and put that metal screen up where they can't get at you. So that's pretty important. I will stop sharing and just show a couple things here on the camera. This is a solar rechargeable light, kind of hard to see here, but it actually has a port inside of it where you can actually charge your cell phone. It's got a solar panel here on the top. There's a Lucy light that's almost the same thing. It basically compresses down into a small device, and you can even get mood colors if you're a moody person, and that collapses as well. And I clip these with a small carabiner to the back of my backpack so they can charge during the daytime.
Oh, wait, Bob,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt you. Will you hold it closer to your head when you show it to us? Otherwise it like kind of disappears as it
Yeah,
gets
so
closer
this
to-
is what it looks like. That's the top. There's a solar panel. And that's what the bag looks like on the side. I know it's clear. It's kind of
There
hard to
you go.
see. Yeah. And the same thing for the light here. That's what the light looks like when it's folded out. It actually compresses down like this flat. And then it has a solar panel in the top, and it's got a hole in the side where you can plug it in and charge your cell phone. It's got a small solar panel. This is 550 parachute cord right here. You can get it all different kinds of colors. You can even get them where it has reflective stripes. This is extremely useful. You can even tie together some of the debris you find in the ocean, some of the sticks and things like that, and make a lean-to or a hut. This is a HydroPack collapsible bag. It's black, so it doesn't show up very well, but it's a collapsible, sorry about that. It's a collapsible bag that basically you can put water in. The other thing I have here is this is again, it's dark. So I'll open up the page here. This is a tablet called Write in the Rain. This is a tablet that's waterproof. This is Tyvek paper, so you can write on it. You can use it for fire starter. You can leave notes for people. And that's what you want if you're out in inclement weather, so you can leave a note and not lose it. And then another thing that I brought here is, this is the filters I use. This is called a Sawyer water filter. These filters are great because this is the same company that makes filters for people on kidney dialysis. It comes with a syringe so you can back flush any contaminants out of it. And these small little filters will filter 100,000 gallons of water. Remember, it's only going to get rid of the bugs that are in the water, which predominantly around here is Cryptosporidium and Giardia. That's what we find in our streams here. It's not going to get rid of any heavy metals or any other contamination that's in there. But I've used these extensively a lot in the backcountry, and they work very, very well. So those are just a few things. Obviously, if we were in person, you could touch all this stuff and ask questions. I think I'm almost out of time, so I don't know if Leader Supreme here, Christine, will allow me to answer any questions, but I'm happy to do that. Or she can, or you can get a hold of her and contact me if you'd either like a presentation. We teach all of this in our Community Emergency Response Team training course to our citizens. And me and my family, we have a go bag, and then we have a 2-day bag and a 3-day bag, which has more extensive things in it, so you can grab and go and throw them in your car. I highly recommend everybody carry at least a gallon of drinkable water in your car in case you get caught out somewhere. I've actually used it before in the desert when somebody had a boil over to help them get back on the road. So it's multi-use. Just remember, water does go bad, especially in the sun, so you need to rotate it out. So I'll answer any questions unless I've gone over my time limit and you're going to zap me with a lightsaber, Christine.
No, you're good. Actually, will you tell people, you said something interesting at the liaison meeting about the water being on the concrete or something like that?
Yeah. So I strongly recommend you store water. I store water in 7-gallon containers. If you do the math, that's about 63 pounds. A lot of people will buy 10-gallon plastic containers to put water in. That's a terrible idea because do the math, that's 90 pounds. You're not going to be able to lift it. Water typically will last if you get it out of the tap. Ideally about a year and a half, 2 years tops. At 18 months, I put a tag on my water containers, and at 18 months, I use them to water the plants and I refill them. The only way to store water is in plastic containers. It needs to be in the deep bowels of your garage or somewhere out of the sun, because the sun will go in and inactivate the antibacterial agent that's in water nowadays. And in most areas, like in the Cambria CSD, they no longer use chlorine, they're using bromine. Bromine goes bye-bye when the sun hits it for a period of time. So then you can start to grow bacteria in the water. The other thing is plastic interacts with the water and concrete. So if you stick your plastic containers on the ground with concrete, the water it won't be poisonous, but it won't taste very good and it won't look very good. So you need to put an insulating layer between your plastic containers and wherever you store your water.
Thank you. And it looks like Karen has a question.
Yes, thank you, Bob, for talking to us about this. I'm wondering if that list of go bag items that you shared your screen to show us can be found somewhere online, CERT or the CCSD, or can you send it to Christina?
I can send it to Christina, and I'm trying to work with the chief and Matt to put it. Actually, we have a spot on the Cambria CSD website for CERT, and I'm trying to put that list on there so that people can have access to it. It's not a secret. I mean, you put in there whatever you need, but these are the minimums that I recommend.
Sure.
So I will share it with Christine, and she can get it to all of you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Karen. Looks like the chief has a question for the chief.
Well, no, I just wanted to answer Karen's question there. I put in the chat as Bob was going through these things. I put in the chat a link to an emergency supply kit list. I also put a couple more links in there as well in the chat. So if you want to just click on those, they're ready to go there. There's a couple of them. One of them's something I was going to talk about during my report, which is animal evacuation. But again, there's also readyforwildfire.org on there, and then readyslow.org. So all of that information is available online, just like Bob said. So it should be there for your convenience.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Burkey. Thank you, Bob. And if anybody is interested in being a liaison for your neighborhood, you're more than welcome to do that. And you can sign up through Mr. Matthew or Burkey and online. So, and that's where Bob did his last presentation of his go bag. So yeah, we're learning a lot there. Okay, cool. So thank you for being here. All right.
You're welcome.
So this is the question for all. Do we want to take a quick break? What we have left is the CCSD report, fire report, and Cecilia has something very interesting to share with us because they're moving into their construction phase and they're going to share their design package with us for the healthcare district. Karen, you have an answer for me.
5 minutes?
Okay, perfect. Yeah. And then I think we're on track to have a short meeting, you guys. So, all right.
Thank you.
5 minutes. All right, we have 1 minute. Hey, Lisa Murphy, are you there? Or are you on break?
I'm here.
Hi. I just
Lisa.
want everybody to see her because Lisa's potentially interested in being on the NCAC. Not to put you on the spot, but she's just incredible and she would be such a gift for us. So I just wanted like everybody to
Yay,
get it.
Lisa.
Great. So
Yes,
thank you.
Central Lodge Hill alternate.
Yay. Yay. Oh, and there's Katie, and Katie's new to town-ish, new-ish to town. So am I, really. You're still new if it's like 3 years. So yeah, it's just nice to have active, smart, new people, new blood. So thank you guys both for being here, and Lisa, yay, we'll see you next month. All right, so let's see, do we have Harry in the house? Harry, you said you were gonna share something today?
Well, I'm supposed to be the liaison to the CCSD, right?
It's supposed to be.
I am, and I'm supposed to let you know what happened at our recent meeting.
Yes, go for it.
Okay, well, let's see how successful I am in giving this report. So we had 3 major regular business items. The first one was updating what we call the Subsequential Environmental Impact Report, or the SEIR, on the WRF, or the Water Reclamation Facility. So this was originally adopted back in July of 2019, 8 years ago, but we've needed to do a couple of updates on this SEIR for 2 reasons. Mainly, we are investigating adopting zero liquid discharge at the ZLD, at the facility, for the use of how to dispose of brine waste. Also, we'll be investigating the option of using brine waste storage and hauling if the ZLD is not implemented. And also with regard to the planned removal of the pond liner that is adjacent to the WRF. So I want to give you, well, let me just mention also, included in this updating of the SEIR are proposed operating hours of the WRF during either dry precipitation or normal precipitation. So it's possible that we might implement it during regular precipitation. In other words, let's say average rain during the rainy season, if needed, to operate at 12 hours a day in July and August, 5 days a week, or if the rainfall is very minimal, to operate at 24 hours a day, 5 days a week from May through October. So this is mainly to provide adequate water supply to the community, as well as to prevent saltwater intrusion into the lower San Simeon Creek aquifer. So like I said, we took a vote on this, and the board approved it 4-1. We also had a discussion, we didn't vote on this, we also had a discussion on a will serve letter transfer that took place back in February of 2019, where a water meter at a commercial property on Main Street was split, and part of that meter was transferred to a single family residence location on Park Hill. So this is a contradiction on basically our municipal code, where the transfer of positions from a commercial to a residential or vice versa is not allowed. So our legal counsel has advised us that if we refuse, so what I should say is the people that own the property where they want to build their residence, they are potentially going to sue us if we refuse to allow this to happen, even though it's not legal. In other words, transferring a water meter, splitting a water meter from commercial and transferring it to residential. If we were to refuse to do this, our legal counsel said that this would expose us to much liability. We'd probably lose and be subject to serious legal costs. So like I said, this was not anything we voted on. It was just a discussion to consider maybe at a later date or just allow it to happen. We also received and filed the independent auditor's report for fiscal year of 2023, 2024. Everybody was very satisfied. We've got great people doing as our independent auditors. We also filled the vacancy on the Standing Finance Committee with the appointment of Shelley Holden. Also, in our utilities report, Utility Supervisor Jim Green informed us that the WRF would be operated this coming September and October. And while he didn't give the details on why, it's probably going to see what type of results would occur, because we're going to be doing, and Ted might be giving us a little bit of an update on this, Ted Key. We'll be utilizing the pilot project for the zero liquid discharge. And that's going to be tested, like I said, this fall. And so that's probably why the WRF is going to be operated. Also, I want to briefly let you know that tomorrow we're having a special meeting, and it's basically about our fire hazard fuel reduction program that we approved last year. And so the deadline to have weed abatement and other items regarding fire safety and forest health, but especially fire safety, the deadline was July the 1st. So we're having the meeting tomorrow to find out, well, who didn't do that, and how do we move forward in approving our own folks doing the weed abatement, and then members of the public who didn't have this done, some who live here and some don't, they would have to be paying the bill on that. And also, we're going to be listening to a presentation with regard to the Stewart Street tank, and we're going to need to rebuild both of those tanks. And so we're going to be considering a contract to approve we're going to be considering approving the contract to do this with Cross Snow Construction. So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. I hope this was had enough clarity that too many people weren't confused, and I'm done. Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Harry. You summed up like a 6-hour meeting in 3, so I'd say you succeeded. Does anybody have a question for Harry? Oh, Ted Key, go ahead.
Hi, Harry. Thanks very much. It's my understanding that they're looking at the beginning of October for the pilot project. The exact day, I don't know for sure, but I think they're shooting for October 6th. So I don't know how that figures into your decision making, but that's what I understand.
Okay. Obviously, General Manager McElhaney is here. If he wants to add or subtract anything or correct anything that I said, Matt, feel free to do that.
Oh, Director Farmer, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. You nailed most of that. As far as the ZLD project, as mentioned by Ted, Jim Green and some of our water staff took a trip over to Kalinga, got to witness the actual apparatus that would be coming to Cambria. So the pilot project that is occurring in Cambria is the actual piece of equipment that will be operating in Kalinga. That apparatus will come to Cambria. That again will be a board decision. So we're going to bring that proposal forward to the board of directors to approve it, to start this pilot project. We've run it through resources and infrastructure, multiple times and had several discussions on it. If anybody has any questions, those are all agendized and you can watch those recordings. So it's promising. Yeah, there's some promising news coming out of that.
If I may, the discussion regarding the WRF itself, the engineers that I spoke to today gave big thumbs up to Jim and his crew for how well they have taken care of the WRF, and the really excellent job. They've discussed the preparations for running the pilot, and I'm very excited for this pilot program to take place. And So you should know your people are doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the crews are doing a great job. I'm looking forward to bringing that project forward. If those of you that have not watched the board meeting, someone's not muted.
Me.
I
Yeah,
can't see. I just muted two people, but I don't know who would be left.
That's fine. I think Ted got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some good conversations with the county and the Coastal Commission regarding the WRF, and we're almost at the end of the information hole. We have a few items left on that. Already have consultants that are addressing that. I put that out in a community letter, and it is anticipated with the confirmation of county staff that if we address those information hole items, we'll be going before the Planning Commission, which obviously will be appealed to the Board of Supervisors and on and on and on. So, but the WR project description will come before the board to address some of those changes. The SEIR already went before the board. So there's some things moving on the WRF to include this zero liquid discharge. Some of the things that were touched on in terms of the fire hazard fuel reduction program and the public nuisance list that will be coming out tomorrow. There's about 100, and I'm ballparking, don't quote me, but there's about 160 failed parcels, which is almost a 50% cut from 24-25 and about a 70% cut from 23-24. So a lot of the outreach that we've been doing as a district about weed abatement and defensible space and our public outreach seems to be working in terms of reducing some of those issues. We have a lot of grants that have been funded recently. The Air Pollution Control District has addressed or basically given us a grant for about $20,000 to start putting in EV chargers at the wastewater plant. We currently have one EV truck there. We're purchasing a second. There's some other grants that have come through. The skate park grant has been funded, and now it is awaiting basically our October-ish meeting where the 501c3 of the Cambria Community Council in coordination with Skate Cambria, if they close that funding gap, the grant has been funded from the Land Conservation Water Fund. So that is ready to go. Our staff is going to start taking some webinars on the process for submitting reimbursements. The EPA grant for the Stewart Street tanks, as Director Farmer noted, that has been funded. So tomorrow, as a part of tomorrow's meeting, in addition to the fire hazard fuel reduction program, you will see a request for a budget adjustment from our reserves to pay for the Stewart Street tank construction. And there will be a shift of our $6 million in water reserves. There's going to be a shift of about $2.1 million out of reserves to pay for the Stewart Street tanks. So that's not going to be financed. That's coming out of reserves, along with a small contribution from our grants. Other than that, I think Director Farmer covered a lot of our actions over the last couple of weeks, and I'm open to any questions.
All right, you got Ted Key.
Hi, Matt. I'm thrilled that you are bringing on another electric truck. So I guess I'm wondering, off the cuff, are you happy with the equipment, and is it serving your purposes as you wish that they would?
Absolutely, yeah. Everybody's really pleased with that Ford Lightning, the first Ford Lightning we purchased. It's being used as one of our on-call vehicles, so it gets charged during the day. Our on-call folks take it, and we have a requirement for our on-call staff to live within about a 45-minute radius, and so obviously that has a long enough charge where they can basically go home, and it's fully charged. They don't need to charge at home or anything like that, and they bring it back. Not to mention, we purchased. This was a couple special meetings ago, but we purchased our electric tractor.
Yeah.
We had a budget adjustment. We just cut the check today. The tractor is ready, and that's going to be picked up within the next week and a half. So we're starting to shift towards that green fleet. So far everybody's really pleased, and yeah, we're looking forward to shifting.
Well, it's super great. One of the things that people in California should be aware of, and I don't think many people are, there are 7 gasoline refineries in California that manufacture the California blend gasoline, which is only used in California. 2 of them are going to be closing, one at the end of the year, the Valero one down south, and in the spring, I think it's a mobile one up north will be closing. Will be cutting the gasoline supply to our state by 20%. And that gasoline is going to have to come from outside of the state, probably be shipped in boat vessels and pumped. The price of gasoline in our state, I wouldn't be surprised to see $10 a gallon by the end of the year. So thank you for buying those electric trucks. It's going to save you a ton of money. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Ted. Matthew, I think the only question I have is, you said 2.1 million out of reserves, and I just recently learned that like reserve money in an emergency can like change funds or whatever. I kind of learned this month. So can you just tell us what reserves that 2.1 is coming out of, and just clarification, since everybody seems to get really riled up about reserves lately?
If I think I understand your question correctly, you're talking about the separation between what general fund reserves are and enterprise reserves?
Yes, and that at times general fund reserves can fund wastewater something or other, but only in a certain situation. So I know I'm like speaking in tongues, but like, because I need clarification. So please.
That's all right. Most people think that we're speaking in tongues. Yeah. So we have 2 different funds, right? We have the ratepayer funds in terms of the enterprise funds, which are water and wastewater funds, funding through rates. You take the enterprise funds, which are property tax funded. The only thing that we can use enterprise funds on is for water and wastewater infrastructure needs, like the Stewart Street tanks. The enterprise funds cannot be moved over to general fund to support general fund activities like facilities and resources or fire department needs. It's a one-way street in terms of that way. However, there is government code that allows for inter-fund loan, which means that the enterprise funds can actually borrow from the general fund. And we have had that happen in the past where the enterprise funds borrow from the general fund reserves, and they actually pay interest on basically that borrowing. Like we're paying ourselves to borrow from those 2 separate funds. But those enterprise funds are strictly reserves from water and wastewater. And so that's where that 2 million is coming from, is from the water reserves. Does that make sense? So when we talk about general fund reserves and we talk about a fire engine purchase that's going to come from the general fund reserves, it's the same concept. We would draw down the general fund reserves to purchase a fire engine. Could be 1.2 million. You pull those out of your savings account and you pay for the fire engine. That's essentially what we're doing, is that we have healthy reserves from the water and wastewater side, and we're drawing down that savings and an emergency account to pay for the Stewart Street tanks.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then potentially you guys, like Jim might present on that next month if he's available. Stewart Street.
Oh, you mean for NCAC?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a whole implementation plan. He's going to talk about, and a part of that expenditure is actually a project manager that's going to oversee the entire construction of the Stewart Street tanks and be on site. So yeah, he can present. He's ready.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you. Does anybody else have a question for Matthew, or we're good? And Cecilia, I think it might be your turn. Oh, no, sorry. I almost skipped over. Burkey, go tell us something.
Something good, right? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I've got the fire chief report for June of 2025 for the CCSD. So our total incidents were 109. We had 2 false alarms, 34 public assists, 2 hazardous conditions, 69 medical emergencies, and 2 fires. 109 was significantly higher than we had last year. So the June 2024 total was 79. Again, that's just kind of, we're noticing a pretty consistent trend up in our calls. You know, is it more tourism? Is it not? There's a ton of different factors of why that's increasing. But we definitely have noticed an uptake in calls in June and July. We're still on par for having a record year for July as well. So comparison information, we serviced 71 residents and we had 27 non-residents. Year-to-date total for 2025 is 548, and the year-to-date total for 2024 was 478. So again, we're trending upwards there. During in between the calls, our fire department focused on training, and it was basically structure fire focused. We did have to focus a little bit like on the change from our 4 personnel on the engine to 3 personnel. So that does significantly impact our capabilities when we respond to these types of incidents. But the response times don't change. It's just what we can do when we actually get there. So our firefighters have been really focusing on what that looks like and adjusting to that difference. We've also focused a little bit like on out of county responses, also water tender operations, drafting, porta tank deployment, that kind of stuff. Public education, we had our, I'm assuming most of you are aware, we had the IAFF, our firefighters put on a great fundraiser for Skate Cambria. I believe the total they raised was somewhere in the $8,400 range, which was I was super proud of our guys for stepping up and doing that, and they did such a phenomenal job at that fundraiser. So I was very proud of them again. Public service. So this just kind of talks a little bit about smoke detector changes. We had 5. We had 12 defensible space and residential inspections, and then we had 6 business inspections. So that's the completion of that report. I wanted to talk a little bit, I kind of mentioned earlier about some wildfire preparedness kind of information in the area of animal evacuation. We don't really talk too much about that, but I wanted to mention, I think most of you guys have seen this wildfire. There it is, the wildfire action plan. I preach this quite a bit. If you don't have one of these, come by the fire station. Our neighborhood liaisons I feel like they're pretty well versed in this. This is kind of like our what we were considering our Bible at this point. There's a lot of great information in here. Most of this information is also available online. I in our chat today in this meeting, I put links to this. I also put links to the animal evacuation guide. As well as what Bob was talking about earlier as far as the emergency supply kit. I put a lot of those links, quick links right in the chat there, so you can just click on them and go right to it. I also put readyslow.org in there as well, because readyslow.org is kind of a one-stop shop as well. So if it's everything you need to know. It really is a very comprehensive website that will answer most of your questions. If you don't get them answered there, I'd be very surprised. They have a lot of great emergency information, everything from evacuation to, signing up for emergency alerts and all of the above. So really quick, in this guide, there's the animal evacuation information. It's listed near the back. I won't list everything they have here. I really encourage you to either go to the website or pick one of these up at our fire station or at the CCSD office. But I really wanted to kind of touch base a little bit on that as for your animal safety. So we really do preach pretty heavily about your own preparation before you're going to prep anybody else. And so we want to make sure that your home is the primary concern of yourself. You have to make sure that you're ready before anybody else is, or before you help anybody else. And that includes your animals. Sometimes, and this isn't, I would basically rather die before I left my dog behind, because that's just kind of how I am. So I would imagine a lot of people are like that as well. So, but just remember that their safety is the most importance. And so sometimes leaving them behind in a safe house that has food and water that's relatively temperature controlled, that might be the best option. So just remember that. Sometimes shoving them in a box and trying to put them in your car and trying to exit, that might not be the best thing for them. So there, just keep that in mind. There is a lot of information on there as far as large livestock and what to do. Really, it focuses on preparation, like we're talking about 100% of the time. We're trying to make sure you're prepared long before, so that you're not trying to figure this out in an emergency. You already have this plan. And part of that plan is actually reaching out to equestrian centers or livestock centers around our county to see what they have as far as facilities that are able to take animals in an emergency. So doing that ahead of time, that's really going to make a big difference. Just as it is in your own preparation, just make sure that you're taking the time now, long before the emergency gets here. That's really going to save lives, yours primarily. And so that's all I really wanted to. I didn't want to make this. I could talk for hours on this again, so I really just wanted to touch base a little bit on that and throw that information out there, kind of get your minds thinking a little bit about it. As always, along with my fire chief's report, all of this information is available on the CCSD website, including a more detailed report for the month of June, as far as the calls and what we ran and all of that kind of stuff. But also this information is available as well. So I encourage you to check that out. And I'm open for any questions.
Right, thank you. And there's a PDF version, I believe I have, of that wildfire booklet. So I'll send that out when I send the video out. I'll just attach it so everybody can have it. And then Matt, we have Jeff Bloom has a question for you, Burkey. But wait, Burkey, you don't look happy. Were you happy with that statement? That's good.
I can't control my facial expressions. I'm sorry. Did not mean to imply that.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
No,
Jeff Bloom.
Go ahead.
You're muted.
Is there any similar information about what to do around power lines during a fire? Because we had a situation where we had a down line on our block, and one of the neighbors was out there with metal loppers trying to pick it up and move it, and it got pretty crazy. And of course, eventually CAL FIRE showed up and your guys and made everybody get away from it. But during a fire, that's not necessarily a possibility, and there's the potential of having to drive over lines to get out. Is there any literature that can be provided? Because PG&Es is all about staying away from it, but in either a really bad wind event or storm, that might not always be a possibility here in Cambria. You might be trapped by the lines if you just do nothing.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Jeff. Thanks for bringing that up. I feel like there is a lot of great information, not necessarily in the wildfire action plan, but more online through those websites that I kind of mentioned. There is you kind of have to do a little bit of deep diving. PG&E really is the kind of expert on a lot of that, and you're correct. Most of the time they're saying stay away. That's always going to be the safest option. We don't want to get anybody, especially with any sort. I mean, if they're out there with metal, I don't know how to even explain that, but
I couldn't either.
Yeah, that's that. But honestly, we see that all the time. I mean, we've literally been, and this isn't on an attack on anybody, but we've seen everything you can imagine when it comes to power lines, and so we're out there to try and prevent any further harm, further injury. But you're absolutely correct. Sometimes we're not going to be there. We're not, if the power lines are down, we have no, we're going to be doing what we do, which is out there trying to fight the fire. And so sometimes you are going to be left up to your own devices, and we're hoping that the preparation is significant enough to where you're educated enough to know to avoid those areas. But to answer your question, there is great information on there. I don't have anything, like I said, the readyforwildfire.org is a great website. And there's also the readyslow.org has more information on there as well as the PG&E. We are trying to bring out for the neighborhood liaisons, we're starting to do the kind of smaller meetings within the neighborhoods. Matter of fact, this Saturday we have there's a block party that wasn't put on by me, but it was put on by Pat. I don't remember her last name, but she's phenomenal. She's putting on down at Seacliff Estates, and so I was trying to get PG&E out here, a representative from PG&E out here to answer exactly those types of questions. So that's what we're trying to bring to the community to answer those questions on a little bit smaller scale, so they're just a little bit more aware. But that's a great question, Jeff. Thank you. Hopefully I answered that.
Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Can I?
Thanks, Jeff. And I'm going to mute you, Jeff. And then Burkey, that is Patty Griffin, and she's in Seacliff Estates, and you guys are having your gathering at 4.
Yes.
So anybody who's excited, and Tracy, who lives in Marine Terrace, is going to be doing like a go bag presentation, and it should just be really cool. Ted Keith, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can I add one thing, Christina?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know why you're laughing at me. So the chief and I haven't touched base here. I put a little bit of information out. So July 1st, we lost 3 of our grant-funded safer firefighters. And so I know there's been a lot of communication and maybe some confusion in the community. I think Cecilia, I've talked to some of your staff about some of the calls and concerns that they have been bringing to the healthcare district about the availability of paramedics. So we have currently 3 firefighters on an engine per day. When we had the SAFER grant, which was a limited term grant, we had 4 firefighters on the engine, and those 4th firefighters were funded by FEMA. That grant ended. It wasn't renewed by FEMA. We're working on some other opportunities to potentially bring some of that staffing back. But I wanted to highlight the fact that we still have 3 firefighters on the engine with paramedics, and that the healthcare district still has an EMT and paramedic on 2 different ambulances within the district. So we're still fully staffed. The 4th firefighter on the engine was a blessing, a luxury. Currently our funding can't sustain funding 4 firefighters on the engine. But I want to assure our community that we still have a fully fledged fire department that's fully trained with paramedics, in addition to the support of the Cambria Community Healthcare District. And you're not short-staffed on the public safety side. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Matthew. But not short-staffed, but that doesn't mean that there's not like much to be desired. Is that like? Oh,
yeah. You talk to the chief and we have a lot to be desired. We would love the 4th. we would love the 4th firefighter back. You know, as a special district, we're limited on revenues. There's opportunities in the future to maybe fund that, depending on the direction we head. And we would love to do that. I think in Cambria and its unique area and being disconnected from the rest of the county, that it would be the community would be best served with those 4 firefighters on the engine, especially considering our wildfire threat. And so, yeah. And we did get a community blast out. We'll be going out here in the next half an hour about our new brush truck that arrived to fight wildland firefighting, to deal with wildland fires. And that is not your typical fire engine, specifically for wildland fires. And so you'll see a blast out about that.
Okay. And just before people swirl, can you just clarify when that was ordered? Because I think
yes. So that was approved for purchase in 2023, I believe February of 2023. There was a budget adjustment in which we paid $500-ish thousand, and it's a Ford chassis built out with a auxiliary pump and a 400-gallon tank that is meant for our tough to get to areas within the district. So our type 1 engines, If you've seen them, they're big. They can't get to those tight areas if we get a wildland fire. So they have to do progressive hose lays and they have to chase the fire with hoses. Whereas this brush truck is four-wheel drive. It can get into some tight spaces and actually initiate that initial attack much quicker and knock down that fire before it becomes very large very quickly. So it's a unique piece of equipment. It doesn't address our needs in terms of structural firefighting and address our needs in terms of our aging Type 1 engines. And again, that blast out later tonight will describe the difference between the big engines and the brush truck and what their intended purposes are for.
All right,
And it was in 2023.
Thank you very much.
Can
And then Ted Key.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I just wanted to piggyback onto what General Manager McElhenney said. So, yeah, if you're asking me as far as staffing, as Matt knows, I'm constantly. It's never enough for me because I know how isolated we are up here, and I know the challenges that we have. And Cal Fire is a great resource to have in our area, but they're not. Dedicated to Cambria's immediate area like we are. And that's nothing against them. They have a mission and they are fulfilling that mission very well, but we are isolated up here, very, very isolated. And so if you look at Templeton, the fire that just happened over there with the feed and grain, most of those fire engines came from the surrounding areas and they were there within 10 minutes. And so we would not have that. They're very fortunate to have the surrounding areas that are able to supply to them their auto aid agreement and engines will come flooding in very, very rapidly. We just don't have that ability. Our first engine is ours. The second engine is Cal Fire. The next engine from there could be 40 minutes away. And so that's where we start looking at staffing and saying, okay, we need to up our staffing. We need to make sure that we are fully staffed and we're better staffed now than we ever have been, minus that fourth firefighter. But we're still going to be trying. I'm still going to be trying to increase that staffing level to get us up to the standard, to where we need to be. And so, secondly, as far as the fire truck that it's a big four-wheel drive Ford pickup truck is what we're talking about. I wish I had a picture of it, but it's exactly that. Just like Matt said, it's our fire engine, our Type 1 fire engine. We kind of humorously refer to them as pavement queens. They don't go off-road. Their tires aren't meant for it. We've gotten those things stuck multiple times, and that's really what kind of prefaced this purchase back in 2023 is we had a couple of fires where those fire engines were, they were essentially stuck off-road, and makes it very, very difficult, and it makes it hazardous for the crews, not only the crews that are on the fire, but the crews that are responding to the fire if you have a fire engine that's stuck in the way. And so this piece of apparatus was absolutely necessary, and it really demonstrates the CCSD's kind of vision as far as trying to increase the response and increase the wildland firefighting ability. So more to come on that. Just like Matt said, there's going to be some great information coming out, so look for that. And I apologize for jumping in there. I just wanted to.
No, you're good. Thank you for that. And hopefully next month, Darren from CHP will be on and we can kind of talk about roadways, because that truck may be able to get through a roadway where people have parked and all of a sudden it's one lane and the fire truck can't get through. And so I'm personally very excited about it.
Yeah, so just to clarify too, this will not be
oh gosh,
I have the ability to fight structure fires. Yeah, it's wild. There you go. That's basically what it looks like. So can everybody see that? Is somebody sharing their screen?
Yeah, Matthew is.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and so like I said, it's a four-wheel drive pickup truck. That's not exactly what we have, but that's a great example.
So this isn't going to come shimmying down the blocked roadway when
it potentially could if there's a wildfire, if it's doing structure protection, but this is not meant to fight structure fires. It's not going to show up at your ordinary residential structure fire or commercial structure fire. No, this is for wildland firefighting and or in that setting, protecting the structures from wildfire, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. All right, I don't know who had their hand up first, but go ahead. I need to jump in. Kermit, you want to go?
I'm going to save my question. It's not that important. And let's just keep her moving.
All right. I don't know if I'm having internet issues. Am I frozen?
Okay.
Oh, all right. Any other hands? You want to go ahead?
Let's go with Kermit.
Okay, will you be running foam on that with monitor nozzles, remote controlled nozzles off the front?
Yep, correct. There will be film capabilities, and yep, and there's a bumper line for sure.
Looks like Cheryl's up.
I'm up. Can I ask my question? It's twofold. I really think that you need additional employees for the fire department. People get sick, people get injured, things happen, vacations, and to limit yourself to 3 people that you might be down to 2 people, that's not healthy. And the other thing that wasn't addressed was the fire hydrants. What's the status on the fire hydrants? Those are my 2 questions. Those are my 2 concerns. Thank you.
I'll tackle 2 pieces of that, and then I'll go to the professional. So I'm glad to hear that, Cheryl. And so the Fire Protection Committee is investigating and researching a benefits assessment for the fire department. And that is going to be going through the Fire Protection Committee, looking at an engineering study for what it would take to do a fire benefits assessment, which is essentially, and it's an ugly word, is a tax to help the fire department's funding. And that includes staffing. It includes a fire marshal. We're talking about evacuation routes. We're talking about equipment needs in terms of fire engines. So that'll happen. The water department is in charge of fire hydrant maintenance, and they are on top of that. They have a system within our Diamond Maps, which will soon transition to Esri, which is another company we've contracted with. They are servicing those hydrants. They test those hydrants. We don't always flow test those hydrants because obviously we have some issues with water usage in Cambria. But those hydrants are being tested, mapped, cleared, and we have a reporting form on the website in which you can report a hydrant issue, and we will go out and check it. And with that, I'll turn it over to the chief to knock it out of the park.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, am I unmuted? Can you guys hear me okay? All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, as far as the staffing, I couldn't agree more. You know, I'm fully recognizing the challenges that we have in Cambria, and as far as funding, and it's difficult. You know, we're in a very you know, difficult area to find funding for our firefighters. And I think, you know, the CCSD and along with the staff and the board have done a phenomenal job of getting us in the right direction of where we need to go. Does that say that we don't have a lot farther to go? Absolutely, we do. And we're constantly, every single day, we're working on these challenges and we're trying to overcome them. But you know, to answer that question, yeah, we're constantly looking for more staffing and I mean, it was heartbreaking to seeing our guys leave, you know, for sure. Though we worked with those for more than 3 years actually. And so it was very difficult to see them leave, and not only to see what the personalities that left, but also what they brought to our fire department. And so, you know, constantly looking for new ways to fund. That's the reality of every single thing that we're talking about here. And every single thing that comes to the fire department, it comes with a cost. And it's really up to the citizens of Cambria to understand that cost, what that cost really means, and what that means as far as fire protection, and what that can really do to our community as far as, you know, providing a higher level of protection and service. every single bit of them, including the paramedics, including the water rescue, ocean of the cliff rescue, all of those specialties, they come at a cost. They're very expensive, and so that's what we need to decide as a community, what we really want to fund, and looking toward the future, we just have to decide what that really looks like for our community. As far as the fire hydrants, more so are kind of monitored by the water department. They're the ones that kind of oversee a lot of that. Jim would be the best person to talk about what the maintenance and everything looks like. But our guys are constantly out there using them, and they're if we recognize an issue, we bring it right to the water department's attention, and they are very responsive. We do go out and we as we're training, we recognize the different areas, and we mark them on the maps, and we're constantly trying to familiarize ourselves with some of the areas that we don't go to very frequently. So that's on our training calendar. We do that very frequently, but so far we've been very pleased with the response of the water department and the performance of the fire hydrants. Hopefully that answered all the questions.
All right, it looks like we are good. Thank you both for going through that, and thank you everybody for your questions. Cecilia, it is your turn. Do you want to tell us your exciting news and run us
Well,
through it?
I will tell you our exciting news. Where's Don?
Let's see,
There
did
he
he
is.
give
Okay,
us-
I'm just
oh,
making
yes,
sure
okay.
that Don Sather is here, who I think a lot of you know Don because he was a part of this group. But Don has been just an incredible volunteer as part of getting our project developed and working with the architects and the whole planning process. But so just so you don't get scared that we're going to give a presentation of our design at 7:45. What we wanted to talk to you about today was actually just process. And that is, and like so many projects of its kind, that we're just trying to keep to a really tight schedule and make sure that we hit those milestones. And as part of that, and Don can speak further about this, he prepared a letter to this group, the NCAC, just making a request that the land use committee review. We have a design package that's going to the county, and rather than have that go to the county and then get referred and then just go in that sequence, we wanted to come today and ask that the land use committee look at that now. And Don, do you want to take it from here? But it basically would mean that this would come for discussion in August, but right about the same time, so that we don't have to do this in a linear fashion. Is that right, Don? Did I get that right?
Yes, thank you. I think you basically covered it. We would like a formal review by the land use committee during this month, and a recommendation by the land use committee for next month's meeting. And we would like to have that agendized. In that way, we can have your response and your recommendations to keep the design process moving. We have an excellent architect. We do have now a preliminary design package on our website, which we encourage everyone to take a look at. That's Cambria-healthcare.org. It's on the website, and I won't go into it any further, but please take a look at it. And we hope the land use committee can meet. We are available at any time for a site visit and a discussion of the design. And that's basically where we are. So we know this is a little bit ahead of what typically you guys take a look at with the county referral. The county referral, we believe, will go from the architect by the end of this month. He wants to have more consultant input, which won't change the design nor the aesthetic at all. So that's what we would like you to do, and we're asking we're asking you to do that. If you would do that for us, it would move us along very quickly, and we would appreciate it. We would be happy to have a formal presentation of our design next month, if you would desire that, and we can go through everything. If there are any more additional questions from what you see on the website. So that's our request. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you, Dawn. And thank you for your past NCAC service. It looks like you guys have a couple of questions. Jeff Bloom, you want to go ahead?
When are you ready to submit the package to the county yet? So that what you'd be asking us to review is exactly what's going to the county?
Yes, the design portion will be going to the county exactly as it is now. The additional stuff from the county is, as you know from previous referrals, the county will have to refer to many different agencies. The CCSD and the CCSD Fire will get a referral. So we're not trying to dodge anything. We just would like to keep our design process going very quickly and nicely as it's doing now.
And when are you expecting to submit those to the county?
Probably the first week in August is what the architect is saying now, but we're just not sure at this point why we would like to get a little latitude on the design portion only. I'm sure you will see a referral in the future, but hopefully the county will have your recommendation in the file at that point.
Well, does that answer your question, Jeff?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I understand the concept of getting the feedback, and that's helpful to you. I'm not so sure about putting a stamp of approval on it before we get it officially from the county. That's, there's, as much as we'd like to think there aren't any changes, you're telling me or telling the group that you're still working on it. So, I mean, if you're finished elevations, finished floor plan, finished site plan, finished site engineering, then, that's pretty okay if the only thing left is somebody fiddling around with the mechanical systems or the structure itself. But if any of those other components aren't finished, then you're really asking us to look at something that's not quite done.
Well, we are finished, Jeff, with what you suggest. Floor plan, site plan, elevations are all finished and really pretty much set in stone at this point. So that's where we are, and that's why we think that we can submit it to you for review.
Mm-hmm. Are your engineering plans for the grading plan and whatnot finished also?
That has not been completed at this point, and that probably won't be for quite a while at this point. It's a flat, basically flat site. It's all asphalt and building at this point, which the building will have to be removed. So my sense is that there might be much grading at all. But
Jeff, and maybe this is something we can talk about over email just throughout the month, but the way that Dane's our new liaison, and the way that I think I understand that he hopes to work and that we hope to work is kind of giving early feedback. And then if there's like an info hold or changes are made, then he'll kind of send that back out. And so maybe this could be the perfect time to really test this like super early, you know, process with an applicant. I think it'd be.
Well, I'm fine with, you know, preliminary feedback. Where I guess it gets a little dicey in my view is when you're asking us to package a recommendation and send it to the county before we ever got it officially. That concerns me a little because I've seen more than one plan over the years get revised, changed in ways. I've seen buildings get built 4 or 5 feet higher than they were supposed to and having to juggle everything to try to fix it. So a lot can go wrong between what looks nice and what actually gets considered officially by all the county departments and the other agencies. So I'm not trying to throw cold water on it, but I think it depends on exactly what you're asking us to do, in my mind, at least. I would not be comfortable sending letters saying, oh yeah, it's great. We approve it when it's not finished.
Well, since this would come before everybody in August, why don't we do the work from now until then? And
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. But I feel like we're gonna lean on you also to be involved. And so in August, we'll all be on the.
Anything I can do, Jeff, to allay your concerns. I know, you know, it's, I understand totally your point of view.
It's fine. I mean, looking at plans, giving feedback, all good stuff. And if you're looking for, is there a smoking gun that the NCAC has a problem with? That's fine too. It's what you expect in terms of a formal recommendation that is the troubling part for me.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, and who knows? We'll see. Maybe we're just getting ahead of things. So when it comes in August, we're not waiting till September to actually take a vote. Because I'm being honest.
Yeah, and if Dane's able to bring us progress plans along the way, and everybody wants to spend the time looking at incremental sets of plans, that's all good too. I mean, it helps understand the thought that went into it and how it got done. Again, it's like, but if we're hurry up, send a recommendation to the county before it's even been submitted, I have a really big problem with that.
Yeah. No, I hear that. And I think this just gives us an opportunity to actually like be on time. And we'll see. Let's see how July goes. And then Karen, you have some.
I just want to clarify that our agenda has a link to the conceptual design package for the new ambulance station. I want to clarify that's what Cecilia and Don are talking about, the design package. It's the same thing, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Oh, great, because it's already on our agenda. Thank you.
I'm trying, Karen. All right, let's see. Brian, did you have your hand up? I thought you had your hand up. Oh, but you're muted. Oh, is that a no?
I did have my hand up, but my question was the same as Karen's.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And
Christine, yeah, I had one other thing I wanted to mention from the healthcare district if we're putting this item.
Of course. Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick, the only other thing I think that's relevant to the community that we're going to be putting public information about, it's probably affecting a lot of us, is about the closure of pharmacies in the area. And I know a lot of our local residents have really been severely impacted by the closure of Rite Aid in Morro Bay. This was, of course, after Morro Bay Drug had already closed. All Rite Aids, I think within the month, all Rite Aids in San Luis Obispo County will be closed. And there's a little kerfuffle to get your prescriptions depending on what you're taking. So if you're taking something pretty common, of course, Cambria Drug is taking those, but we're going to give some information about what pharmacies are taking, what kinds of prescriptions, and the things you need to keep in mind if you decide to choose a new pharmacy. And some of that, I love Cambria Drug. They take a little longer, right? So, so these are the kinds of things. And also, there are some specialty pharmaceuticals that you will not be able to get in Cambria. And Cayuca's pharmacies made the decision to no longer accept insurance. So this is really going to trouble, I think, a lot of our residents, but we'll be putting something out publicly about what your choices are and what to keep in mind.
Okay, will you, yeah, just let me know when you do
Yeah,
that.
it's quite a thing.
Yeah, no, I
That was a
mean,
busy pharmacy. I mean, if you went there, you see the line 20 deep every time. So it's just a lot of people that are scrambling.
yeah, yeah, and a lot of people don't, aren't really in a position to drive that far.
Right, right.
So I think
Right.
that this is like a larger community issue where people need to be, stepping up to help their neighbors.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you do that, just shoot me an email and then maybe Karen
Okay.
shoot something out as well on the NCAC social media and stuff like that. Because I think it's a bigger deal than anybody realizes. So thank you for bringing that up. And then I don't want to cut you off because so you just tell me.
No, that was it. I
good?
think that our project plan and getting your prescriptions filled, we're done.
Well, thank you. All right. And then I think we are almost done. The only thing that I wanted to remind people of, I attached it in the last email that went out today for this meeting about green space starting work 2 days ago in Strawberry Canyon for the wildfire risk reduction forest health project. That's going to go, I believe, till the end of September, depending on timing. And it may be noisy. They're treating all 34.2 acres. Will be treated with the goal of removing dead, dying, and diseased trees, reducing the amount of dead material on the forest floor, and removing invasive species such as the French broom. So, yeah, just if anybody's like, what the heck is going on over there? That's what's going on over there. And let's see, Ted Key, are you going to close us out tonight? It's 8 o'clock.
Yep. I just wanted to remind people that we are going to have just a minute. Going to have a celebration down at Morro Bay for the React group. We're going to have food trucks and all kinds of stuff. We've decided to make the entrance free, a free will donation. We'll be serving some beer and wine, and the Zongo All-Stars and Jill Knight are going to play. We're going to have a flotilla. We'll have a kids area. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we want to celebrate our lives here on the coast for it to be an uplifting event. And that's next Saturday from 1 to 5, Tidelands in Morro Bay. Come on down and celebrate with us. Thanks much.
Thank you, Ted. And you're not going to close us out because it looks like Harry is going to go next, and then Brian. Go ahead. You're muted, Harry.
My apologies. For those of you that are supporters of the skate park, just want to let you know there's going to be a fundraiser this coming Saturday at the Cambria Historical Museum grounds, and it's from 11 until 3. It's food, and it's basically, like I said, a fundraiser, and it's going to be a lot of fun. There's art and that type of thing, and Jill Knight and Eric Williams are going to be playing music there as well from 11:30 until 1. So it should be an enjoyable time. So there you are. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Brian?
I just wanted to mention that next Sunday, July 20th at 4 p.m. in Cambria, Roy Dunn from Green Space will be presenting a lecture on local wildlife, and it'll be pretty much inclusive, and it goes back to what people were saying earlier about protection of wildlife and speed limits and so on. But this is more description of the wildlife. And it sounds like an interesting presentation, at least to me it does anyway. It'll be at the Unitarian Universalist Center, which I think is down by the Donate Place, down on downtown, in the middle of town.
It's on Arlington, at the top of Arlington.
That's yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, that was my if anybody is interested in the presentation, I can get information on the website.
All right, cool. Yeah, send it to me. Those presentations are amazing.
Okay.
So thank you for bringing that up. Let's see, anybody else? We stuck it out. We were almost at 8 o'clock. I think we're good, you guys.
But not 9.
I know, not 9, I promise, Cecilia.
Well done.
Said by 9. So thank you guys, and I won't take up any more
Thank
of your
you.
time. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a blessed weekend.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, Lisa.